versus Toji Fushiguro, huh? What an interesting concept. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here, and here we are to do a breakdown / analysis and live reaction to Scruples. I think that's how you say his name. Scruples. Yuki versus Toji is surprisingly close. Now, I'm interested. This video is 2 months old at the time of my live reaction, meaning we are way before. I think we're way before the Maki feats, but I'm not sure if we're way before the base Yuta feat on Kenny. I don't think we are. 2 months ago, so that means it has to have been posted this year. It can't be earlier than that. And I think the Kenny Yuta debacle ended up being way before that, or no, right after that. So I'm interested. I'm very interested. Notably, y'all may know my idea, but we have a whole lot to talk about. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. Ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yuki.
What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, I like to yap. I like to yap extensively. When I tell you I like to yap so much. So if you want to see the original video of Scruples without me yippity yapping all over the place, please, the link to his channel will be in the description down below, along with the link to the original video. Go peep, go run it up, go check it out. This is my first time seeing a Scruple vid. It is my first time seeing his channel. I've already liked the videos and subscribed, so please head over there. I assume this is going to be gas because I've yet to run into a bad JJK creator. I don't know. It just seems like a consistent pattern. But we shall see. We shall see. This is a test run. But speaking of test runs, let me give you a test run of my opinion on this battle well before we actually leap into it. He has a Sakamoto Days video on my GOAT Takamura. It was posted 8 days ago. I needed to do that. But with that being the case, I think Toji is a really, really, really bad matchup for Yuji. Not Yuji. Well, Yuji as well, but Yuki. Mainly because, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Yuki's scaling is garbage. It's garbage. It's doo-doo water. I'm sorry. I can't defend Yuki. I simply cannot. Especially considering it just seems to have become the general community consensus that Kenny's a base Yuta victim. It just seems to be the thing. I see no more arguments about that. I don't have arguments for it anymore. He literally reacts and turns around and looks. Base Yuta. Fast enough to blitz and strong enough to one-shot Kenny with a regular sword in his cursed energy reinforcement. Toji, at bare minimum, should be comparable to Yuta in speed by being equal to Maki. Has probably comparable strength. Once again, that's more headcanon. So let's just say probably has soul split katana, meaning Yuki's very vague durability in the first place. Because Yuki, once again, because her scaling's garbage, she has no dura feats. She has barely any speed feats. She has she has good AP feats. That's the only thing she has. She has 1 good AP feat. 2, technically, because the black hole. But the black hole is a double KO. So Yuki literally has no ability to hit Toji. Remember, Toji could have beaten the Zenitsu at any time. Nabito's the second fastest sorcerer. This statement is made well after Yuki's introduced into the narrative. She should be counted in terms of her speed. There's nothing to suggest that Yuki's faster than Nabito or Naoya or has the ability to react to them. And Maki and Toji, once completed, are able to absolutely body bag someone who's many, many, many times faster than Naoya, who should be comparable to Nabito, and Nabito would be drastically slower than cursed Naoya. I don't see a world where Yuki wins, because unlike someone like Yuta, who has an AoE attack that you could argue would immediately work on Toji and Maki before they could react. I'll make a whole video talking about that. And I actually made a video in the past, but my thoughts have changed. So I need to talk about Toji and Maki versus Cursed Speech, because that's its own topic in of itself. But while Yuta has that attack, while you could argue characters like Kenny and Geto have cursed spirit manipulation spam, we know that's super relevant against Maki and Toji, but once again, that's something to be tackled for another video, so we'll save that for that. And while we know they'll never touch Gojo, out of all of the special grades, Yuki has the worst matchup, in my opinion, because she has no speed scaling. She lands, I think, 2 clean hits on Kenny. 1, when she catches him off guard with Kenny's lack of information, and 2, when Kenny is literally being jumped after burning out his technique post a domain. Actually, no. I think he has the technique back at that point, but still, Completely irrelevant. She's barely able to tag Kenny. Kenny slower than Yuta. Yuta comparable to Maki in speed. When slopping off Yuta, considering, at least according to Sukuna, the only stats that's changed for our cast and crew is their durability. Meaning their pre-time skip speed and their post-time skip speed is the exact same. The only thing that should have changed is the durability, and with Sukuna not acknowledging that Maki got any stronger, all Maki feats should still apply to Toji. So, like, Toji would absolutely annihilate Yuki. And once again, remember, one hit Yuki takes that's at all remotely serious from Soul Split, her output's cooked. And she's doing nothing to Toji in terms of damage. And Garuda's never touching her. And Yuki's never touching Toji. So, I'm sorry, you cannot be an opponent you can't hit. And while Yuki's AoE range is decent enough with Garuda, it's not good enough to clear the gap. At least not in my opinion. To clear the gap in speed, to clear the gap in Toji's ability to react to it. Remember, Toji's still fully capable, while rusty and weaker than his prime self, able to react to blues, able to perception blitz and confuse the six eyes, able to do so many different crazy things while rusty. Not to talk of a prime Toji, who's even better than that, has precog. Essentially, and admittedly this is something where I'm cheating, because 2 months ago versus today is very, very different because of the recent Maki chapters and Maki feats. But essentially, do you think that Yuki would do the same speed-wise that Maki did when she fought 15 Finger Nerf Sukuna? If you do, what evidence do you have to support that? Because there's none. Yuki's scaling is garbage. Not necessarily garbage. She's not bad. But, like, it's not good either. It really isn't. Because she's a one-fight wonder where she lost while 3v1ing somebody. So, I don't know. I see legit zero arguments for Yuki. I ran a poll earlier today, and everyone was slomping Yuki to the moon. I don't get it. I do not see y'all vision. Oh, well, she'd one-tap him. I agree. If she's at full output and manages to hit him. But there's nothing to suggest that Yuki could. That's like saying, I can one-tap. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a fighter. But, like, it's the speed versus power argument. Except, in this case, the speed has a weapon to one-shot the power, and the power has no weapon or ability or backup strat that could actually tag the speed. So, like, I don't know. I don't see the vision for Yuki. But let's see what Scruple has to say. Enough of my yapping. Let's let Scruple do some yapping. It's not yapping. It's actually proper discussion. I yap. Scruple does not yap, presumably. Let's see.
Versus Toji. Self-proclaimed monkey versus the wrath of the star. Both
Why did he... There are so many other hypothetical titles you could have given Toji. Why did you call him the ghost of the Zenin, the one who left it all behind, he who could crush the Zenin at any moment, that man, like, there's so many, the Sorcerer Slayer, so many different things you could have called him. Really? The self-proclaimed. Come on, now you don't have to do my boy Toji like that, but let's see.
Characters have left their mark on the Jujutsu world. Both characters are among the strongest in JJK. So in this video, I'll be pitting the Sorcerer Killer Toji Fushiguro against former Star Plasma Vessel Yuki Tsukumo to see who would win and why. To start us off, let's take a look at Toji's speed scaling. Now, if you've read any...
Okay, this is going to be we're opening up with the big thing. This is the big thing, right? Because here's the thing. But that's the thing. It's so hard because Yuki doesn't have it. She just doesn't have it. Because, like, the way you weirdly roundabout kind of sort of pseudo argue Yuta being above Toji and Maki in speed is you go, well, Yuta was able to somewhat keep up with Naoya while Naoya was also casual, and they both dashed at the same time and managed to somewhat tag their respective opponents and catch up. But no, now you tag Choso. Yuji dipped. Yuta full-on chased him. And also, we don't even know if Naobito was using his Naoya was using his technique in that moment where he tagged Choso. And once again, that would only apply to Yuta, who, by narrative, feats, everything, is clearly above Yuki. Like, we literally see Yuta, who apparently had no stat changes other than defense, according to Sukuna, one-tap Kenny, who Yuki definitively did not one-tap. So, like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. And I know, it sounds bad, because I know whenever I do this, I come across as a Yuki hater. But don't worry, I'm not a Yuki hater. I'm a Toji toe licker. It's different. I'm a Maki beat muncher. It's different. issue with Yuki is, as I highlighted in numerous videos on the channel up to this point, is that she gets done dirty by having one fight that she was destined to lose. That is it. That is purely it. And due to having one fight, we have no durability scaling for her. We just know she can be harmed by sure hit domain expansions and Uzumaki's. A maximum in a domain. There's a whole bunch of lower range beneath that, but against someone like Toji, it doesn't matter because Soul Split, so that's irrelevant. We have no real speed scaling other than nebulously below / relative to Kenny / Adult Ghetto, who neither of which have speed scaling above Naoya and Nobito. Or even reaction speed scaling like Toji and Maki do. So there's nothing there. AP is the only thing we have, and even then, that AP was not enough to one-tap Suguru Geto, who didn't know it was coming. Or Kenjaku, who's equivalent to Suguru Geto, who admittedly, sure, lost both of his arms, but he just snapped them back on, and then she never did any sort of comparable damage the moment she took damage, even after she fully healed herself. So yeah, unlike Toji, who got a narrative equivalent, who got Glaze and a narrative equivalent later in Maki, who retroactively, due to a lack of Maki stronger statements, Toji keeps getting Glaze and just keeps getting stronger. Yuki just is Yuki and has gotten nothing. The only hypothetical buff she may have gotten is some ability to maybe heal Soul Split, because it's with her book plus Yuji's innate understanding of the soul from housing Sukuna that allows Yuji to do the soul stuff that he does now. Without that, then he wouldn't be able to do it. So presumably Yuki should be able to do something with the soul. But even then, if Sukuna's struggling to heal off soul damage, I don't think I need to tell you Yuki will. One of these characters has much higher mastery and of their soul and much better mastery of RCT and Cursed Energy Reserves and just hit a Black Flash. But their heart's still broken and still damaged. It's Sukuna. And he can't do it properly. Yuki's not, but let's see.
We're near the current manga chapters or even just seen hidden inventory in Shibuya, you'll know that Toji is one of the fastest characters in the verse. Now Nobito, someone considered to be the second fastest sorcerer in the verse, is someone Toji is implied to be able to easily keep up with, as seen when Renta tells Junichi that Toji could have just annihilated the Zenin clan on a whim. This already puts Toji vaguely above Nobito, making him the actual second fastest sorcerer, but we can take the scaling one step farther. In Maki's fight with 15-finger Sukuna, we see Maki not only keep up with and react to Sukuna's attacks, but actively hit combos and set up strikes with Yuji. 15-finger Sukuna is someone who can pretty casually keep up with likes of Maharaga, speed blitz Ishigori, and completely bully Jogo, who Dagon only saw as possibly slower than Nobito. So for Maki to be able to keep up so well says volumes about her speed. And of course, Maki is equal to Toji, so...
Yeah, okay, so yep, there it is. There's that. And here's the thing, right? There are arguments, but I think the recent chapters kind of throw those arguments out the window. Because like for the longest time, right, there was the debate. Okay, Sukuna says physical movements are fine, but does that just mean he can move the body fine, but he's still at like 10% or 15% of his speed physically? Meaning he's only like a tenth of how fast he's going? With Sukuna confirming that our casting crew didn't get a universal buff, only a defense buff, and characters able to somewhat keep up with a Sukuna who has an unquantifiable nerf to his physicals, and Maki, of course, in recent chapters, you know, keeping up with and dodging dismantles and world slashes, something that characters have yet to do before, and Toji should still scale to that. The whole idea that 15-finger Sukuna was nerfed speed-wise is kind of been thrown out the window, unless you believe in the alternate interpretation where, oh, well, Sukuna says nothing but their defense has been buffed, but he actually also implies that everything may have gotten a buff. They may have all gotten a bit stronger everywhere. So there's that. And then Toji would be disqualified from Maki. There's a big debate on whether or not Maki has surpassed Toji or not stat-wise. We have no narrative text to support that other than everyone else who has traditional cursed energy reinforcement got stronger, but Maki literally doesn't have that. We don't know how heavenly restriction users get stronger. We just know they can get weaker. So, like, at best, Maki maintained and may have gotten stronger, but there's no text to suggest that. So, literally, all Maki feats tend up being Toji feats, which is a little bit sneaky by Gege, but still, I think that's the case. And ultimately, with that, do you see Yuki dodging dismantles? The same Yuki who couldn't react to or dodge Uzumaki's? No, right? But let's see.
This applies to Toji as well. You could argue that the Sukuna Maki fought was only at 10% output, but it's pretty widely agreed that the translation meant 10% output on his curse technique and not just his overall output. So with those two pieces of scaling, it's clear that Toji is probably just top 5 in the verse when it comes to just raw speed, being only surpassed by the likes of Gojo, Sukuna, and a few others that you could argue. Next up, when looking at Toji's AP, we need to consider not just how hard he can punch and kick, but the power of his curse tools as well. In particular, we need to consider Soul.
Yeah, I remember to unmute this time. Hold on, wait a second, what did he say? Top 5? I mean, yeah. Like, notably in terms of overall speed, just due to the fact that Maki's only implied to get a perception boost, not necessarily a movement. That's the weird thing, though. I need to make a video on that, too. Do the heavily restriction users scale to their perception at all? Because, like, if they didn't, you would run into the Sharingan issue, where they just couldn't react. Like, they can see it, and they can feel it coming, but they can't do anything about it. So, like, it's weird. That's a video for another time. Like, in terms of raw travel speed, yeah. You can definitely argue characters like Nabito, Naoya are still faster, especially Curse Naoya, because just we saw raw stats they weren't able to, but then they're able to strike them. That's the weird thing. I'll have to think about that more and make a whole video on that. What do y'all think? Do you think the heavily restricted users scale to their perception at all? I think they kind of have to, unless they're like swinging, unless they're always swinging preemptively. That may be it, but like that's still big. Like you need to be able to read something, process that information, and then move accordingly to swing, or else they'd consistently whiff everything, right? Like they'd be able to see dismantles coming, they'd be able to see Naoya coming, but not really be able to do anything about it. Kind of like how Sasuke could see Naruto coming, and he could perceive him moving towards him, but still couldn't do anything about it because his body was in fact. I don't know. Another video, another time. We'll think about that. But yeah, top 5 speed, just raw travel speed would be Gojo, probably at number 1, just because of blue and stuff like that. Then Sukuna, then Curse Naoya, then regular Nabito, then Naoya, just because of the fact that it's implied, just to get, assuming the heavily restricted users do not scale to their speed at all, they just simply do not, then it's those two, because they're able to react to. But in terms of reaction speed, Maki and Toji are only directly inferior to Gojo and Sukuna. I don't think there's anyone else in the entire verse who's implied to have better reaction and perception speeds than them, other than Gojo and Sukuna. One, the strongest character in the verse, and the other with the 6 eyes. That's what I think. Do you guys think anyone else has faster reaction speed or perception speed than Maki and Toji? I don't think so. Once again, their feats and their narrative and their whole precog is based on having the best of the best. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Let me know.
When looking at Toji's AP, we need to consider not just how hard he can punch and kick, but the power of his curse tools as well. In particular, we need to consider Soul Splitter's ability to just negate conventional durability and directly attack the soul. This gives Toji the edge when fighting pretty much anyone, since Soul Splitter's ability has never actually been shown to be countered and can even affect inanimate objects. In terms of his just base strike,
I am not ignoring that part. It is the conventional toughness of all things. I'm assuming that leads for the Garuda argument, right? Because Garuda's a curse tool, so the argument, well, Garuda doesn't have a soul. But remember, even inanimate objects in JJK have souls. This is such a funny frame to pause on. But like, even inanimate objects in JJK have souls. That's the prerequisite for seeing and using Soul Split, to even see the souls of inanimate objects. So yeah, Garuda is not safe from Soul Split. Nothing in the verse is safe from Soul Split. If Sukuna himself isn't safe from Soul Split, to the point where he's like, I cannot touch this. I need to keep using Dismantle to make sure I don't touch it. And he got his heart pierced, and he's struggling to heal from it. Nothing in the verse, except for Santuru Gojo, of course, except for like literal space itself, is immune to Soul Split. Because I guess space doesn't have a soul. Infinity, the only thing in JJK that is soulless is infinity. But what about the new Rika? Rika also still has soul whispers, pieces of it. She's also, if she didn't, she'd count as an inanimate object. She has soul. It's just not as much, because Riko Orimoto's gone. Riko's still an SSK victim. I want you to realize that.
Power, Toji is no slouch either. While he usually fights with cursed tools, Maki has been shown to be able to fight fairly evenly with 15-finger Sukuna, even if the hits she was landing weren't making Sukuna bleed, so Toji's base striking power is definitely nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, it's not that good though. Like notably, if there's one thing I'll give to anyone who wants to like go against Toji or Maki, their regular physicals are not the best. There's nothing to suggest that it is. Like, Maki barely, if does any damage to Curse Naoya. You can make slight argument, like in this panel
he
here.
He has been shown to be able to fight fairly evenly with 15-finger Sukuna, even if the hits she was landing.
You can make slight arguments that like some of those specks there are meant to be Sukuna's blood, but it's really hard to argue that. So like their striking strength is kind of booty meat. That's why you'll always hear me resort to SSK. Like especially in the Yuta matchup in particular, I am not under any delusion that if Toji or Yuta or Toji or Maki were to try and just like fist fight, they wouldn't do any damage. Ryui Shigori, the guy who hits the hardest in the entire verse outside of maybe Yuki, could barely do damage to Yuta with his physicals. Toji and Maki ain't doing that. That's a fact. I ain't that delusional. They need SSK because their regular attack potency kind of sucks. It peaks out at Dagon level. And don't get me wrong, Dagon level is still pretty good, apparently. Like, Kusakabe is apparently weaker than Meimei, who should be around Nanami's level. And I'll need to talk about that more in depth in the long review. So I'll hold on that, but let's see.
Weren't making Sukuna bleed, so Toji's base striking power is definitely nothing to scoff at. As for Toji's durability, we don't really have a whole lot to go off of. Most of what we do know comes directly from things Maki has actually been hit with. We know that Naoya's Mach 3 attack was enough to deal pretty decent internal damage to Maki, even if she claims that she could recover from that in around 5 minutes. And we know that she could tank both the lightning from Nue and a punch from 15-finger Sukuna, but that's really about it.
Toshi also eats an Awakened Gojo's red. The anime retcons it. Like, I'll be complete. The anime retcons it. Like, the anime makes it so that Toji used inverted spear to kind of, like, push off the... No. Like, in the manga, one, we don't see that. And two, it's very... Toji immediately says afterwards, the inverted spear having can deal with red. So the anime retconned it. The anime does that a lot. It'll do things that don't happen in the manga, which make things seem weird. But no, Toji, for the most part, face tanks a freshly awakened Gojo's red, which is very impressive. But once again, it's one of his only durability feats. Toji doesn't get hit. Maki also rarely gets hit. Whenever they do, they either take basically no damage, or they're one shot. Nowhere in between. Like you said, Curse Naoya, basically one shot. Then again, I guess like Maki does eat a bunch from like Naoya and stuff like that. But that's still not impressive. That's like grade 1s here. We don't need those durability feats. And essentially, let me say this for the Yuki fans out there: Yuki lands a hit, Maki and Toji are losing limbs. Thing is, she's not landing that hit though. That's the only thing. Well, I mean, I guess you could argue maybe not, because like face tanking Nue's lightning before Sukuna realized the output was nerfed is crazy, and those are big lightning bolts. But still, like just to be generous to Yuki, yeah. We ain't gonna be that delusional. I think there's a high likelihood that they would get washed.
Toji just gets one shot by Awakened Gojo's purple, and is damaged from a red from the same Gojo, an attack that Jogo would later go on to take from an adult Gojo. So while it's not like Toji's durability is awful by any means, it doesn't have any particularly standout feats either. In terms of
the only hypothetical, like, new thing the latest chapters have gotten is, like, Maki eating a cleave. But then again, that's, like, a base level cleave. And she survived a Black Flash from Sukuna. Impressive. But, once again, survived. She did not immediately get back up. So, like, yeah. Maki and Toji's durability, it's weird. It should be extremely high. And, like, presumably Gojo was suppressing his red because he wanted information from Jogo. Meanwhile, he likely was not suppressing his red against Toji, but still, it's unquantifiable. So yeah, I agree. An adult Gojo's red would be stronger than 18 Gojo's, even freshly awakened. And tweaking.
In intelligence, Toji actually has quite a lot. Toji is pretty knowledgeable about Jujutsu, able to create a plan to get around Gojo's Limitless and is instantly able to deduce the functions of things like Granny Ogami's Sion's technique and Geto's imaginary vengeful spirit. Pair that with his innate regen factor, precog, ability to do air hops, immunity to domains, invisibility to most people, his chain of 1,000 miles, and the inverted spear of heaven's curse technique negation, and have a character that is ironically pretty stacked with hacks and intelligence despite calling himself a monkey. Now that we've taken a look at what Toji can do, it's time to analyze Yuki's abilities. Beginning with speed, Yuki honestly doesn't have that much to go off of. We know that she's relative to Kenjaku, who can pretty casually dodge piercing blood, so she's at least vaguely faster than sound, but outside of that, there aren't too many concrete speed feats. One of the better lines of scaling for Yuki's speed is Maki's statement that Yuki and Yuta are on the same level, along with Kenjaku placing Yuta, Maki, and Akari all around the same level as Jujutsu High's big 3.
The only issue I have with that is that you can just very easily interpret that, oh, Yuki Tsukumo-san and Yuta are on the same level, as in they are both special grade sorcerers. That's accurate. That does not mean they need to be in the same league of power, which they are not. We literally see they are not. So, like, I don't think you can use that statement to scale Yuki to Yuta. And, like, honestly, how would Maki know that they're at all comparable in power? When was the last time she saw full power Yuta, and when was any time she saw full power Yuki? Did she even understand Yuki's abilities? I think the only way to interpret that statement is Maki saying they're both special grades, and Kenny beat her. He must be too strong. Only for her to be proved immediately wrong, not a month later, when Kenny got one shot. You know what I'm saying? So, like, honestly, it's a way, but it's not a good way. Yuki fans, you can't use that. I'm sorry. I don't know. Once again, I would have been on your side in the past, but after the blatant feats, I can't. I really cannot say that Yuki and Yuta are even in the same tier. I'd put Yuki a whole tier below Yuta. I know that sounds crazy to some Yuki fans, and I know some Yuta fans are doing a hop and a jig that I'm glazing their boy like this, but he's earned it. He's him. I can't deny it. This is like, he's done it. He has the second best run against Sukuna. Full power, well, not full power, but full body Sukuna. He's the only person to definitively tear off Sukuna's limbs. Yuji didn't do that. Riga didn't do that. That was Yuta. Tore out his tongue, tore his arms up. Yeah, Yuta's him. Yuki ain't doing all that. She ain't got the speed feats. And arguably may not have the power feats. Let's be real.
It's fair to say that Yuki is probably relative to those three in speed, but there are a few problems. The first being that the Maki that says Yuki and Yuta are on the same level goes on to fight a Sukuna that casually perception blitzes someone Yuta exhibited relativity to, which implies that Maki is massively faster than Yuki. Maki could also just be an unreliable narrator. The second problem is the narrator stating that Naobito was the second fastest sorcerer, which would include the likes of Yuta and Yuki. Using this statement, it would appear that Toji would just be massively faster than Yuki. However, I don't think that Kenjaku would place Yuta and Maki on the same level as part of Jujutsu High's Big 3. Maki was just massively faster than Yuta, so I think the scaling I described earlier is fair, but I'll be sure to include both interpretations.
I still see it as fair, but I see what he means. Notably, I could still see, like, here's the thing. Even though I believe that Maki is a solid matchup for Yuta, Maki or Toji individually are solid matchups for Yuta and can do numbers and have a good speed advantage, I can still see easily putting Yuta higher because he's better in more situations, because he has more diversity. Maki and Toji are just matchup checks. They are stat checks. If you fail the speed stat check and you don't have special resistances, which no one in the verse appears to have, not even Sukuna, then you lose. That's just kind of how I see Maki and Toji. Yuki fails the stat check horribly. And, like, notably, once again, this is 2 months old. I'm not sure. He's probably going to bring up the Takaba thing. Takaba, Kenny, Yuta thing. And if that's the case, Yuki and Yuta are clearly nowhere near relative. Yuki falls off drastically. And also, I hate to say it, but at this point, Kenny's also unreliable. He was just wrong, flat out wrong about Yuta. So it's hard to even use him as like a comparable or metrics scalar thing, because he just doesn't know. He's uninformed, at least based on how his interaction with Yuta went after he went on an anti-glazing Yuta arc, just
Next
like your
up,
boy.
we need to take a look at Yuki's AP. For this, we have some more concrete scaling. Yuki, with just a basic application of Bombay to her fist, can completely tear through Kenjaku's arms and send him flying outside of Tengen's barrier. Kenjaku himself is unsure of his ability to actually beat Yuki in a 1v1. Yuki is also able to imbue mass into Garuda, and doing this shows that she's able to pretty much one-shot any cursed spirit Kenjaku can summon, is able to decimate portions of the arena that they fight in. These feats, however, only seem to be able to be done when Bombay is at regular output. And if Yuki is injured or is actively using RCT, she isn't able to output nearly as much power. The attacks obviously still deal damage to Kenjaku, but she isn't tearing holes in Tengen's barrier anymore. Yuki's biggest feat, however, is her black hole, which was just flat out stated to be planetary. This really is just a last resort though, since using it means that Yuki doesn't win, she just takes the entire planet down with her, and Kenjaku notes that Yuki likely has a high output extension technique, but since we never get to see that, there isn't really a point in talking about it. The same goes to her.
Yuki fans, look me dead in my eyes when I say this. Black hole is not a win con. It's losing, but fancy. If taking yourself and your opponent out was a win con, Megami would be top 5. Because he has Big Raga. Is Megami top 5? Because he has Big Raga? No, right? Because Megami summoning Big Raga and slaughtering you both doesn't count as a dub. It doesn't. Same thing for Yuki's Black Hole. You'll need to cease that. You don't need to cease. I'm tired of hearing about it. Gosh darn it. Oh, but Black Hole this, Black Hole that, Yuki top 5. No. 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 She loses. If she does Black Hole, she lost. I'm tired of it.
We don't see and would probably not work against Toji anyway. Next up is Yuki's durability.
It wouldn't.
The big thing to note is that Yuki's durability does not scale to the power of her attacks, since Kenjaku makes a note that the mass Yuki grants herself doesn't slow her down, so she can't actually amp her durability with it. We also see that a gravity blast from Kenjaku's domain and his mini Uzumakis are enough to critically injure Yuki to the point where she has to use RCT to recover. We take Maki's statement about Yuta and Yuki being on the same level, and Kenjaku's assessment that Yuta, Maki, and Hakari make up Jujutsu High's big 3, and we could say that Yuki likely has durability similar to those 3, meaning that she could take attacks on the level of Granite Blast.
No. 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 what? No. Now, like, once again, I get it if you're trying to, like, slap Yuki to the moon. No. Not at all. To say that Maki, Yuta, and Hakari have similar durability makes no sense. Whether it be base or jackpot, Hakari's durability is questionable. Maki's durability, while good, is also questionable. And Yuta's literally the 3rd bulkiest character in the verse. 4th, actually, because Ryu's bulkier. And then it's probably Gojo, Sukuna, Ryu, and then Yuta. She cannot eat granite. What? No. Once again, that's just me fighting Yuki. I don't even think Scruple believes that. I don't think so.
The big lightning strike that Nue hit Maki with. However, outside of these, we actually never see Yuki get hit with like a regular attack, so it's kind of hard to make a definitive statement about her durability. Lastly, we have Yuki's hacks and intelligence. For intelligence, we don't have a lot of showings to work with. She does have the feat of figuring out Kenjaku's gravity manipulation during their fight, but that's really about it for just battle IQ. Yuki does have a little more to show in just general knowledge about Jujutsu, since she knew about Toji's perfected heavenly restriction, did research on the soul, was pretty much the most knowledgeable person on the protagonist's side, next to Tengen post Shibuya. But outside of these little showings, there isn't much to say about her intelligence. Similarly, her hacks aren't anything crazy either. The mass she can imbue into herself or Garuda is virtual, meaning that any curse technique that targets tangible concepts don't work on her. She can swap places with Garuda, use RCT, make a black hole at the cost of her life, But that's really all she's got. Now that we have an idea of what both characters can do, it's time to see how they perform in a fight. Just based on the way I've scaled Toji and Yuki, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that Toji would just tear through Yuki. After all, he can negate her curse technique, bypass any durability she's got, is likely immune to her domain so long as it doesn't target inanimate objects, and is incredibly hard for anyone to detect without the 6 eyes. But I think this fight is a lot closer than people give it credit for. Yuki...
I don't think it is. I think it's a mismatch. I'm interested to see how he justifies it. Because once again, unless you use that whack behind statement from Maki, which is proven wrong not 2 seconds later, based on the Meguna versus Maki fight, if you assume only the CT output was nerfed, or the Yuta feats that take place by the time this video came out. I don't know. At least, in my opinion, to say that Yuki has durability comparable to Yuta is nuts. To say she has speed comparable to Yuta is nuts. Especially when we have direct contradictory evidence to this, based on how both interact with kenjaku. Like, one perception blitzes, the other one loses. And is, like, barely low-end relative. Not low-end, but, like, mid-end relative to Kenny. I don't see the vision, not there. And once again, Toji through Maki, and even honestly by his own merit, just based on the Naobito statements, entirely different speed tier. And once again, Yuki does not have the AoE attack strength or AoE viability to do numbers to Toji that she needs to do. So, interesting. I want to see why he says the battle's close, if it's not that. If you use that roundabout whack behind scaling to try and buff Yuki's stats way beyond, except for AP. Her AP should be one of the highest in the verse, just because of the punching. You know, that's good. That's good. I can rock the AP. Anything else? Speed, durability, what? No. No. At least I
Toji are likely relative in most of their stats. Durability doesn't matter as much since Toji can just negate it with Soul Splitter. I think it's pretty likely that if Toji were to hit with a max output Bombay punch, he'd just lose limbs. This would also mean that the difference in AP isn't that big, with both of them being able to heavily damage the other with their attacks. Additionally, I won't be considering things like Playful Cloud, since I think Toji would be fighting an uphill battle trying to beat Yuki in straight up normal AP, so I'll only be considering the tools he has that would actually be useful. Those being the Inverted Spear of Heaven, Soul Splitter, and the Chain of 1,000 Miles. Yuki has demonstrated zero resistance to soul-based attacks, and while you could argue that her research on the soul might give her some advanced understanding, we still haven't seen what her research has amounted to, so I won't be including it here. The big thing to consider then is how fast...
Man from Future, it changes nothing. Except for maybe she can heal soul damage. Slower than Sukuna can. So, not fast enough.
Toji is compared to Yuki, and how his intelligence and tools play into this. If you're under the interpretation that since Naobito was stated to be the second fastest sorcerer, presumably including Yuki in that statement, and that Toji can fight on par with and even surpass a character with Naobito levels of speed, or align with Maki scaling to 15-finger Sukuna who blitzed someone relative to Yuta, then Toji wins by just speed blitzing Yuki. But if you're under the interpretation that Yuki and Toji are at least somewhat relative due to Kenjaku and Maki's statements, then this fight becomes a lot closer.
Both of which statements are either proven wrong or just proven wrong. Like, I was about to say something that
Toji could obviously get up close with the Inverted Spear of Heaven and negate Yuki's technique, and if he does that, I think the fight is just over. But the risk Toji takes to do that would be massive. In a world where their speeds are relative, information is going to play a massive role. Even someone as knowledgeable as Kenjaku couldn't get any information about Yuki's technique, so I doubt Toji would have any knowledge about it. And if Toji rushes in with the Inverted Spear of Heaven, only to mess up, he could end up losing limbs in an instant. Yuki definitely has the information advantage here, and since Toji is such a cautious fighter, I'm not sure he would actually just rush in with the Inverted Spear of Heaven. Instead, he could attempt to combine the chain and the Inverted Spear of Heaven just like he did against Gojo, but it would make it a lot harder for Toji to actually finish Yuki off by doing that. Meanwhile, Yuki has Garuda to also extend her range, cause massive amounts of destruction to the area, possibly throwing Toji off. But at the end of the day, I think the thing that'll ultimately decide this fight is Toji's invisibility. Even Sukuna wasn't able to detect Maki until she was standing a few feet away from him while carrying Soul Splitter, So if Yuki creates a bunch of debris by swinging around Garuda, Toji would absolutely take advantage of that, disappear from Yuki's sight, and hit her with a sneak attack to finish the fight. So ultimately, I'd give this fight to Toji maybe 5 to 6 times out of 10, but it's incredibly close each time, and if Toji slips up even once, I think Yuki would be able to take advantage of that and take off a limb or two with a single punch. This fight is incredibly close, and I think it would be disingenuous to say that either fighter stomps the other, since they're both so strong in their own right.
Ooh, Toji versus Jogo? 6, you're next. But, yeah, I mean, W video still. Notably, I do think the arguments to boost Yuki and her stats up are not good. But, that aside, I understand. If you're gonna do it that way, yeah, the fight's pretty close, but I'd still give it to Toji. Like, yeah, I can agree. 50-50. Because then just comes to who hits who first. If you give the two relative stats, they both have the capability to one-shot each other. It literally turns into a 50-50. So I agree with that. If you go with Scruple's interpretation that they should have relative stats, speed stats, and with both having very vague durability and solid enough output, enough to one-shot each other, I agree. Yeah, W stuff, and I also agree. The invisibility that Toji has, plus his ability to negate durability and turn-off techniques, both very, very important things that he would regularly use in combat. Good stuff. Fantastic. Now, I'm happy I found Scruple. Please go sub up to him. He only has 417 subs at the time of this recording. So, please, go hit him up. Go like up the video. Tell him Pencil sent you if you run over there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way to the end, please leave fallen stars. Leave fallen stars in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reactions to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, ad-free versions of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. And if you just want to give a one-time donation for a hypothetical video request, you can go click the Ko-fi link down below. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dag with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: O'Connor Plays, Greyhound, Akids Void, Astro, Eternal Flame, Teen Midgao, Querencia Tala, and Red Wolf 4765. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons: Steron, Sean, Panda Goat, Midnight Lord 21, Marcus, Kevin, Igneal, and Yak1. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 members: Autumn's Mornings Lazo and Sick Addiction. And I'd like to give a hefty thank you to our $10 member, Banana Phone. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our $10 patrons: Joaquin, Jermaine, and Idem Okami. And I'd like to give a gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, China Doll 09. And another gargantuan, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.